When I was a kid, there was a game show that came on during the day called To Tell the Truth. Actually, a version of it still airs today, but for me, host Bud Collyer on a black and white screen remains the classic original against which all others are simply copies. The premise and rules of the game were simple. 3 contestants would come out and sit down. The host would present a brief biographical sketch of the person, in this case, let's just say John Smith. Then all 3 contestants would introduce themselves one at a time by saying, "My name is John Smith." Clearly, 2 were lying, and the real one was telling the truth. A panel of 4 celebrities would then question the contestants to see if they could guess who the real one was. When the panelists had voted, the host would ask the question, "Will the real John Smith please stand up?" What the game show lacked in pizzazz and excitement, it more than made up for in intrigue. And I tell this story because all this week I want to take a look at the different ways different parts of the Christian church have envisioned Jesus Christ. Hence the title of today's devotional, Will the Real Jesus Christ Please Stand Up? Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas. And this is your daily devotional for Monday, April 15th, 2024. Every Christian knows who Jesus is. We all know about when he lived, and we know through the gospel accounts many of the things he said and did. But a funny thing happened almost immediately after he died and ascended. Different groups of Christians began to see Jesus in different ways. I don't mean that they literally saw him after his ascension into heaven, but they all created portraits in their mind, portraits about who Jesus was and what he was all about. And here's the thing, they all contained elements of the truth. Let them tell you how they understood Jesus, and you would recognize in their descriptions of him a recognizable portrait of Jesus. But here's also the thing, they didn't all agree. Same Jesus, different understandings of him. This is part of what theologian H. Richard Niebuhr called the enduring problem. In his reading of Christian history, he noticed that there were some recurring patterns in the way different parts of the church talked about Jesus, each one emphasizing a different quality or element in his life and teaching. All recognizably Jesus, yet all somewhat different. And if Niebuhr was right, and I think he was, these differences still hold true today. It's part of the reason why Christians bicker and fight, and why we can't understand that we just seem to talk past each other. This week, I want to explore these different portraits of Jesus using Niebuhr's famous book, Christ and Culture, as our guide. Now, I actually have a bit of an ulterior motive here that I think I ought to tell you. I'm set to teach a course on this book at a theological seminary in Pakistan this fall, and I need to sort through and organize my thoughts. So you get to help me out as I work my way through the whole of this book. The enduring problem, as Niebuhr understood it, was the question of the relationship between our loyalty to Jesus Christ and our many loyalties to the different elements of the cultures we live in. Clearly, different parts of the church have thought differently about this, and the different answers typically involve different ways of understanding Jesus. The problem is not that Jesus himself is unknowable or that he changes from day to day. In the words of the letter to the Hebrews, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. No, the problem is not Jesus. The problem is us, that different ones of us just see him a little differently. All of the ways we see Jesus are recognizably images of Jesus, yet all are partial and incomplete, or they're distortions, still recognizable as portraits of Jesus, but bent a little out of shape. So why is this important? I think it's because knowing that the way we understand Jesus may be different from the way someone else understands Jesus can keep us from falling into an I'm right and you're wrong dynamic. It keeps us from thinking that we alone have a lock on the truth. As Niebuhr says throughout his book, we actually need each other, and we need to understand our differences. So walk with me this week as we explore some of the different portraits of Jesus. See which portrait resonates with you. You never know. Maybe hearing about some of these portraits can help your picture of Jesus fill out and take on more detail. Tomorrow, the Christ who stands against culture as the giver of a new law. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.